Oh, I'll lower it a little bit, bring it a bit.
Okay, we're away. I think people might start streaming in. Awesome.
All right.
Um, yeah, it's funny the old Zoom recordings, hey, when everything kicks off, it's like super official.
Mm, exactly.
Hey,
Yeah.
while we're here, while people are still coming in, Christian, this is where you write? Are you in the position where you normally write stuff?
This is exactly where I write. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
It's just a little room. I'll give you a little tour.
Well, I'm interested in like what in there is like inspirational to you, like things that you've put in there that like this is me, this is something sentimental or
My huge thing is the I Want to Believe X-Files poster. To me, I bought that myself as a gift when I had my own office, because I wanted Fox Mulder's office, and that's a really really huge thing for me. It represents like it just represents, I think, freedom, just writing full time, but also this kind of
Hmm.
when I was a kid, I still love the X-Files, but I loved all of that stuff so much, UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts, and it represents something to me that I don't, maybe it's too conceptual to even explain, but it sort of feels like when there was a time. Remember when you were a kid, you were a teenager, and it still felt like there were things to explore, and it
Like
still felt like
exciting.
yeah. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now with Google Earth and with this and that, it's kind of we've got this amazing technology, but it does feel like we know there's no mystery now, and I think
Yeah.
there's something really fun. In that mystery. It's the same reason I listen to, I listen to all these podcasts about people calling in with their paranormal experiences, ghost stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love it. And I also have, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got I don't know if I can angle. It's difficult, very difficult to see, but my wife had this painting commissioned. It's this gorgeous
Yeah, it's awesome.
forestscape, but if you look really closely, it's hard. There's Bigfoot and our dog by a campfire, but you can't even see it. It's so
Oh, I
little,
can see it.
so
No, I can
you've got to
see it, man. That's
really,
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. And
Oh, look, we've got
also, and that guy, I was just telling you before we started recording, but that painting over there, my wife found it on the side of the road, and and it just really creeped. The beautiful painting, but it creeps me out. And there's a painting, a portrait in the book, in the Long Night, this creepy portrait, and it's just that exact portrait in my mind. It's just really. I had to move it. Now it faces away from the door because every time I would pass, it used to be staring out at me. And
yeah, it's sort of like the Mona Lisa, but not happy. It sort of feels like he's angry at me.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
he's
know.
annoyed just because you're looking at him.
Yeah, go away. I don't know whether you can see in the chat. First of all, hello. Welcome to the Libby Book Club for the new year. Happy New Year. Happy February. We had a
Oh,
month off in January.
I just opened the chat. There's so many people
I
here.
know,
Hello.
heaps of people. It's awesome. But I don't know whether you can see Carly Kane's comment. My husband is a medium and does ghost hunts. He would talk your ear off about
Oh,
that.
okay. Please get him to email me or something. I go to my website, christian-white.com. Email me because I love that. I love that stuff. And I actually really want to one day we should actually talk and do this proper thing. But now that we're just on this tangent, I
Yeah, go on.
I would love to. I do film and TV,
Yeah.
and my films, both of my films are horror films. Horror is this genre that's so near and dear to my heart, and I would love to do just a supernatural horror book. I think for book 10, I'm going to do that, and then book 11, do another thriller because no one will have read book 10, and I'll have to.
I will read it, man.
Thank
I would
you,
love
thank
it.
you.
Yeah, for sure. I think you'd have a lot of readers. Welcome to the Libby Book Club for 2020. What are we? Six? Holy moly. For those of you new to the club, this is where we gather to talk about books in Australia. We focus on Australian authors, we highlight their books. We all read the books, we get together, we chat with the author. If you have a beverage, if you have a cup of tea, you might be in your pajamas. It's the coziest book club because we don't actually have to, well, Christian and I have to look at each other. You guys don't have to. And the first thing we do, and you can see a lot of people are in the chat talking about where they're from. It's one of the best things, I think. Christian and I were talking earlier about one of our favorite things in doing this club
Mm,
is just how you can connect with people from
mm,
everywhere. So,
yeah.
Ian is one of the most loyal book club members. He helps run the Facebook group. from England is tuning in.
Oh, I love it.
Townsville. Why am I? I had something to do with Townsville recently. Oh, I was on the radio recently up in Townsville. They had me on to talk about the club. I don't know whether you caught
Oh.
that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was in I'm a high school teacher, so I ducked into one of the classrooms and just locked the doors so none of the students could get get into the ABC radio. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Um, but welcome to the year. Now,
Mm.
we are going to talk with Christian White tonight about his really awesome book, The Long Night. And I'll read a bit of his resume. It's pretty remarkable. He's the screenwriter of the feature film Relic, Netflix series Clickbait, and Paramount's Apartment 7A. In addition, he's the author of some really awesome Australian thrillers: Nowhere Child, The Wife and the Widow, Wild Place, The Ledge. Ledge, I think, was one of our favorite book club books. I think it was last year or the year before we highlighted. I forget when we
Oh,
did
mate,
it.
it's so you guys are so wonderful and
Yeah,
supportive. I love
we
it.
loved it. And then we're back tonight to talk about The Long Night. And he's really awesome, and he's a good friend, and I love him very much. So everyone,
Oh, I
welcome
love you
Christian.
too.
Let's do claps in the chat. Claps for Christian. Judy, of course. Judy is a very loyal member as well. Hi, Judy. I hope you're doing really well. Hope you had a good Christmas. Sorry, Christian. I'm just sort of catching up with book club members.
Please, no,
Hi,
please.
Gemma.
I'm trying to read them as well. I love all these applause.
Yeah, it's awesome. Hey, Wangaratta, Victoria. Awesome. Pauline, welcome. Debbie from the sunny coast.
Oh,
My kid.
Leanne, X-Files and Supernatural TV series on repeat. Yeah, same. Love
See,
them both.
I never watched them, and part of me wants to go back and watch them now that I watched Breaking Bad and Vince Gilligan. Like, I want to go
Yeah,
back and start
yeah.
X-Files.
It's such a show that's ahead of its time, and it's so amazing, and the Monsters of the Week episodes are brilliant, and the conspiracy stuff. But it's also a very cozy show. There's a lot of
Hmm.
motels, and Mulder's office is just every other episode starts with Mulder just in his office explaining explaining what's going on to Scully with the projector, and
It sounds
I
awesome.
love it. I love it.
Hey, did I hear right that there's like a new one? Like someone's doing a version of it?
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that too.
Forget who the guy is, but he was a good director from my memory. That's what I remember thinking about.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking about the X-Files recently at an event in somewhere that escapes me, Echuca. And afterwards, this lovely reader came up and gave me this. It's a Fox Mulder FBI badge.
That's cool.
I get so much use out of this thing. My wife will say, can you get bread on the way home? And I'll say, I got this, and she hates it. And actually, I'm going to America in a few weeks, and I've decided to leave this out of my wallet because I feel like I don't want to
It's a
risk.
good point. Yeah, I think
Yeah, yeah, I
smart.
don't want to risk anything.
We don't want you, yeah, taken into some back room somewhere.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Couple of comments from the chat here. We've got Tione Lee Stark. First book club here. Very welcome, Tione, but huge Christian White fan. My grandma and I have read through all of his books there. That's
Oh,
so
I
cute.
love it.
I mean,
Love it.
cute bonding over murder and mayhem and
Yeah,
people getting
yeah.
shot, but it's what you bond over with your grandma.
Well, my grandma, it was she sadly passed away now, but she was really dark. And actually, one of my earliest memories. Are we just going? Are we just talking? Because this
I
is
think so. Yeah, this
yeah,
is the
great.
chat. Yeah, we're just
Now that my grandma's come up, one of my earliest memories is of I was in a playground somewhere in Preston, and which is where my nan lived, and she was babysitting me. So my parents were somewhere else, and I remember we're in this playground, sort of bordered by these big boulders, and someone had graffitied, spray painted red spray paint over them, and I said, Nan, what is that? I didn't know, and she could have just told me the truth, but instead she said, Oh, that's blood. Yeah, those rocks, they come alive at night and they eat children who aren't in their beds. And I was so genuinely terrified that because so she created this she said quick as a flash that they come out after dark. And then later I remember my parents picking me up and the sun was coming down and I was like, guys, we've got to get out of here because these these she called them the bloodsuckers. These rocks are going to come alive and get
Had a
us.
whole lore
A
background.
whole thing. And my I love my family to death, but they do this irritating thing where they just take forever to say goodbye. So we'll say goodbye in the kitchen and then at the front door
Mm,
and then at the you do the little path and then you're out on the road and then you're in the car and you think, well, this has got to be it, right? But then the window comes down and we still there
talking.
and this whole time the sun was coming down. I was like, guys, we've got to get at it. We've got to, we've got to leave before the bloodsuckers. So I totally get bonding with your grandma over dark things, I think. I think I owe
That's
her a lot now
amazing.
that I think about it.
I feel like the more we unpack a bit of the history of you, I feel like we're getting a real picture into where your books come from. Because you always
Yeah.
struck me as a super sweet, like teddy bear of a guy, but I'm like, oh, I see.
Well,
There's some,
that's I think have you heard this before that crime writers, we're the nicest, for everyone that there's
yeah,
the different genres are like different cliques. So there's the literary fiction people and the romance people and the fantasy and usually people say that the crime people are the nicest, but I think it's
agree.
something to do with I think we purge all the darkness on the page, so we're I mean I don't know, maybe you're secretly going out and killing people. I'm not sure. Yeah, you
To
do.
gain insight
Yeah,
into what it's
you
built.
went very quiet all of a sudden and said, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we're on
purging all
mic,
the
mate,
page.
so I might just say that I definitely don't do that. But no, I agree. The crime raiders, and I think, people can speak in the chat about their experience. We've had a few, we do crime probably every second book in the club is
Mm.
mostly crime focused. But in the chat, do you guys, right? The crime writers are pretty cool on the program when we talk with them. They're always very down to earth. Amber, no, don't do that. No, she's saying
Murders uncovered. Is that?
this
Yep.
gets recorded and put onto the internet, Amber, please. And
Do
thank
you
you.
notice Amber and everyone else how Ben's got a bit touchy now? He's a bit I don't know. I feel like maybe we've hit a nerve. Yeah, no, we won't. Sorry, we won't talk about murder.
See, you put me in a trap because I can't respond.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got me trapped. Like if I start
I have
defending myself, it sounds worse.
I have recurring dreams sometimes that it's never I've murdered someone, but it's always my wife has murdered someone, and I'm in the
Oh.
dream remembering it, and all of a sudden thinking this sort of rush of oh, what do I do? I've got to hide the body, or do I take the blame? Do I all of
Mm.
that? It's this weird yeah, I don't know where that came from. That's not probably something an inner thought I shouldn't really share, but that's definitely something
No, I
happened.
get it. But this, I think someone actually said it down here. Someone said it. Sorry, I forget where I just read it. Crime writers, yeah, Kim said it. Crime writers help us all relax because they say what we've all thought. So that's
Yeah,
probably part of that, I think.
I think
So
it's
for those,
true.
sorry, I should do a little bit more housekeeping. So for those of you new, the Facebook group, if you go and type in Ben's Book Club, it's the Libby Reads Book Club at the moment, with a bit of a branding change. But if you type in Ben's Book Club, you'll see my face on the Facebook group. Click that, join, and we've got books every month. We do this every month. It's really fun. And for everyone as well, we also run a bit of a comp. And so people come to these so they can really connect with the authors. But type your questions into the chat, and Christian, at the end of the session today, he will actually select the favorite one, the thing that made him laugh or the thing that made him think, whatever for whatever reason, and the winner will receive a copy of The Long Night. We'll get that mailed out to you guys.
Love
So
it.
pretty cool. Yeah, so make sure you actually ask the question. I actually remember last time, Christian, you might not remember this, but you were so impressed with like a few questions, you actually sent them yourself a book from.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, that's right.
You
It's so
sent them
hard to pick.
extras.
It's so hard to pick just one, It's I mean they're all I mean even reading Gemma saying I think recurring dreams an inbuilt reminder to take out the rubbish so my wife won't kill me, which is, how do
Ah, that
it's so
might be
hard
it.
to there's so many good comments.
There are. It is hard to pick, but yeah. So type your best questions into the chat.
Mm,
Um, and also just a brief little thing. We do talk about spoilers here too,
mm.
because we've had the month to focus on the book. The idea is that we talk about spoilers. I do say if you haven't read the book, I do think that it's probably better to pause this and or not that I don't want you here, but come back maybe at a different time to the YouTube recording, just because I think it's really worth reading the first time without spoilers. Because I think a big part of the draw with your books is that rug, not even a rug pull. It is sort of like that, but it's like that lurch as you go off a roller coaster. You're
Mm.
like, I don't know how this is going to land. That little moment. You always have those in your books. Um,
It's also such a fun. I was mentioning this before we started.
mhm.
It's so fun to talk about spoilers. You never, when you do publicity as an author, is in this genre, you never get to talk about spoilers. In fact, you spend so much time not really talking about the book because you kind of don't want to go too close to you
Yeah.
quickly bang out. Someone will, I remember when someone first asked me, about the ledge. The ledge it was about to come out, and they said, "What's it about?" And I panicked because I didn't want to reveal anything, so I just told them a lie. And and
Oh,
then
wow.
and what you end up doing is you create. You would know this, Ben. You create this sort of this airtight, a
Mhm.
pitch. This it's about
Yep.
this. It's about two women who blah 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 blah, and just so you don't spoil anything. So I think that's it's great, very cathartic and fun for an author to be able to
Oh,
talk
awesome.
about spoilers. But I assume we'll do a warning. Is that how it works?
We should do a warning. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just because because we're friends. I just feel like really free to just go wherever I like. So we might. I don't know. I'll signpost it before we get into too much.
Yeah.
Um, I really want to get to this comment from Deanna Jenkins, just because I love
Mm.
it. And there's also a comment from Christine from the Facebook group. But it's the first opening scene to talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you can. I'll read this. It's really great. So Deanna says, I had to drive through rural Queensland on my own and walk around a quiet town in the dark when I started this audiobook. I almost couldn't continue when I realized it was a thriller set in a rural Aussie town. My feet were sweating with the anxiety, but I made it through and was soon obsessed. Um,
Well, sorry, was that her feet? The feet were sweating?
Her feet were sweating, which is actually a
Oh,
super interesting little detail there for
I love that detail.
put that
Yeah.
in the writing bank.
Yeah.
Why this? She said this was a little creepy for her. And sorry, where is it? Christine from the Facebook group was asked this as well. This scene, the opening, freaked her out, is the word she used. And like, what was the inspiration for that doozy of the opening with the date, the baby crawling across? That freaked
Yeah.
me out too. So yeah, talk to us about the inspiration for that scene.
The baby. So I'll walk you through the scene as it is. But when I first heard that story, so it was a bit of a I think there's a twist on it, which is sort of, I think it's an urban legend, not quite the version that I did, but I kind of, this baby on the road, urban legend. I think it's a bit of a thing. I didn't know that when I heard it. When I heard it, I thought I had a version of the story and I heard it as a true story. So when I was
Mm,
listening to it, and I just wish I could tell you all that it was a true story. I don't think it is upon doing some research.
yeah.
But when I heard it, it grabbed me. I was like, oh my God. So I've got it. I knew I had to do something with it. And for anyone who hasn't read it, I'll walk you through it. It's not really a spoiler. It's in the first few pages.
First, yeah, it's the first chapter. I thought we were safe.
Yeah, but it's this it's well, this is how it happens in the book. There's this couple. They've just had a date. It's going really well. They're traveling down this, the mandatory dark road, stormy night, tree-lined road, and they're just chatting, and then suddenly they come around a corner, and in their headlights they see uh, a baby crawling across the road. It's late at night, and they think, what the hell is going on? They swerve around it. They pull off to the side of the road, put their hazard lights, and you know how spooky that when the hazard lights are on at night and all
So
that kind of
good.
stuff.
Yeah, you can so
And
visualize it.
and they get out and they go, they're thinking, you know, what was that? Did we see a ghost, or was there an accident? And was this baby ejected from the crash, whatever it was? So they get out and they've got their little torches and they put their phones, and they put the torches on, and they're going up. They go back to investigate, and as they get close, they realize at first with relief, they think, oh, it's a baby doll. It's not a baby. It must have fallen off a truck. Maybe someone was moving. But then one of them thinks, no, hang on, it was crawling. I swear I saw it crawling. And then they look a little closer and there's a fishing line looped around its neck. And then the other end is going off into the bushes and there's just a man kind of
That's
tugging
so scary,
tugging
man.
it along, and that's the first scene, and I knew, and like I said, I'd heard a version of that story, and I was I was telling other writers to do it, do something with this, this really cool thing. It stuck with me, and no one did, so I had to do it myself.
You did it
But
yourself.
it was this really interesting. I don't know if it's interesting to me. It might not be interesting to all of you, but the big difference I think between my first four books and this one was with my first four books, I had this, it's going to make me sound like a psychopath, but bear with me. I had this very clear image of the reader being like a lobster in a pot. And when you cook, I've never done it, but this sort of sadistic way we cook
Yeah,
lobsters where you put them in and then you turn it up and they feel comfortable and then slowly they're not and then they're screaming and skins. I don't know how far to take it, but their skins falling off, all of that sort of stuff. And Deanne just said I was a lobster, which is excellent. It's
that's the sweaty feet. That's the
music to
claws
my
of the
ears.
lobster. Yeah.
But with this book, I just thought I want the water to be boiling straight away. So I really had to sort of that gave me a chance to start with a big bang, and then I had to kind of maintain the tension. So it was a really, it just sometimes the universe aligns, and you just get you hear these stories, and it all sort of comes together. And that was, yeah, that was an example of that.
It
Oh, this,
was.
oh,
Yeah,
what?
you go ahead, man.
Amber, it's a good question. I don't know whether I should read it out until spoilers.
No, we might wait a little bit with that one. But
Yeah,
funny, Amber's one of our very favorite members because I actually have another question from her on the Facebook group. She wrote this, and it's a bit more about like the inspiration for the book. But when were you struck with the setting of the novel to take place all in one night? And obviously the title, right? The Long Night, like
yeah,
it's a pretty core element to this book. It sort of struck me like a 24, that old
yeah,
TV show, right? So
yeah.
when did that strike you, and was there any sort of difficulty with executing on a thriller that takes in the long night?
Yeah, and believe it or not, I didn't even come up with that title,
Oh,
which just seems like it is about a long night. When I delivered the manuscript, it was called Book Five, but I thought, it's a good book, but we need to give
very
it
evocative,
a
yeah.
different title. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we called it that. And yeah, that came early on, and actually, in between the Ledge and the Long Night, there was actually an aborted novel. I got about 30,000 words in, and it just wasn't getting there. And that was I wanted to write a thriller that was I might still do it one day, but I wanted to write a thriller that was all one conversation. It was just a father and a father and her daughter, yeah, and it was from the daughter's perspective, and they have this long conversation throughout the night, and all this stuff is revealed. I shouldn't say too much because maybe I'll do it one day. But
Hmm.
what I loved about that was there's this idea of if it's film and TV, like you mentioned 24, you can do things that are in real time.
Yeah,
Right now there's that great show on HBO,
the pit.
The Pit.
Yeah,
You can do these really, really great things, and I wanted to do a real-time book, that version, that story didn't quite work, but I knew I wanted to do something set over a short period. And what I
Hmm.
found, and I think for a couple of reasons. One, I don't know if you feel like this, but I really love limitations as a
Yeah, I
writer.
do. I really like it.
I love limiting myself,
Yeah,
and when you're growing up and trying to make it in film and TV, you often the first feature script you're writing is super low budget. Maybe you'll shoot it yourself, all set in one location. Oh, I've got access to a warehouse, so I'll set it in that warehouse. You're
that's
thinking about
Reservoir
all of,
Dogs.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly. And
yeah.
you're thinking about all of those things. And with a novel, you don't have that. You can do whatever you want, which is amazing. But I sometimes miss the limitations, which
Mm.
you still get. Honestly, you still get in when you write for TV. You get even bigger budget stuff. Like I've been lucky enough to work on big budget stuff, but you still get budget notes, and
Yeah,
they'll
okay.
say, we can't really justify this woman is sitting on a train thinking, but to shoot that train is going to take half a day. It's going to cost this much. You're going to need this extras. Can she be somewhere else? And all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, okay, what can I do? With a good example is we shot. I did this Netflix show, Clickbait, and we'd shot the first 6 episodes, and then we got shut down. COVID shut us down, and then we came back, and so all of a sudden you'll notice in the last 2 episodes, people are suddenly every scene is outside and they're standing at a distance. So it was these sort of outside, these external things that force you to be
Mm,
to sort of just stretch your writing muscles, I think. And so I really wanted to do that with this. I wanted a really short
mm,
time period. I wanted really hardly any characters, hardly any setting, hardly any different locations. Um, but also by starting that, this is why weirdly the boiling water was really important to me, because I didn't want to do too much of a slow build. I wanted it to feel, um, if the stakes are high enough and the tension's there, and it's all between 7 p.m. and dawn, your characters can't think about bills or relationship problems or the stakes are
yeah,
so
interesting.
high,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
so challenging as a writer, and that's where you kind of
Mm,
that's where you have that fun. I think that
yeah.
it's that kind of keeps things spicy, I guess.
Yeah, I always think back to this. I was in a when I was younger, I was in a band and we used to play sort of this heavy hardcore punk sort of music.
Mm,
And I used to play, I'm a bass player, and I used to have that fifth string. And for people who don't know music, the fifth string is where you can get that low, really low end. And so whenever I went to a heavy bit, I would just go down. And then the guitarist in the band says, "Hey, why don't you try using that?" I had a really nice Fender Jazz like four string bass.
mm,
But I was like, oh, but I can't do that heavy bit anymore. But the restriction, taking away that extra string, it made me I had to sort of achieve the same heaviness without the crutch of the ease of the choice.
yeah,
And I got to be clever. Like I had to be, like I had to be more sneaky with the note choices and things like that. So I don't
yeah.
know. I'm a big believer in restriction.
It's exactly like that. Yeah, and there's something really
Sort of forces
really
you to be
fun
smart,
about.
like creative and clever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Otherwise, it's sort of, and I don't think it's ever easy, but you don't want it to be. I know if it starts feeling really easy, then I'll panic, and that's
Yeah.
why I kind of,
That's a
yeah,
good, yeah. Actually, I'll take that little note in my back pocket for
yeah,
where I'm
yeah.
at, mate. I've got a great question from Kimberly.
Mm,
Um, I just really loved what Kimberly wrote here. I love your descriptions in the book.
mm.
Like when Jody is annoyed with neighbor Sharon coming over to her house and being nosy, and you wrote how Jody's patience was as thin as deli sliced ham. Like that actual description made her laugh out loud because it was so creative. So her question is about the length of time it took you to write this book. But I want to add to that, just on your question, Kimberly. How do you think about description? Like, how do you actually think about it? Is it just a natural thing, or did you labor over that particular metaphor? How do you go about description, and how long did it take to write this book?
So usually I'm quite bad at those sort of things. I don't, I can't. In the moment, I think if I can't think of as thin as deli sliced ham, but I will pick things up in my life. And so if I notice something is thin, or if I notice something, I'm trying to think of another example, but I will remember those things, and then they'll just come to me in those moments. But but yeah, this descriptions, I always really I like to write visually, and part of that is. I'm quite simple in my when I'm reading, I really like to know where we are, who's in the scene, and then okay, now they talk and there's action and all of that sort of stuff. So it's why when you write a script, it's so nice because you have you know, interior Christian's house night, Christian's on a Zoom dialogue. I really like the reader to know where they are and feel
Mm,
grounded. And so
mhm.
so the visual stuff for me is really about just setting this, just scene setting really, and giving a couple of evocative things. And forgive me because I may have talked about this last time, but so much of what I think about as I go on as a writer is what to take out. So that line that her patience is as thin. You could kind of say that in 3 or 4 lines, but it's all about cutting it down, cutting it down, cutting it down, and
Yeah,
just giving enough to connect with the reader. I
yeah,
think of readers reading as this really active. form of entertainment because your brain, their brain is doing everything for us. When we write a
Yes.
book, we'll say, Ben has, facial hair. They'll do everything else. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so I think about that. I think about that a lot. I think about giving enough description, but never too much.
Mm.
Yeah, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I actually, because I teach a bit of creative writing, and
Mm,
it is exactly that. So I always get people to go, right, everyone picture a tree.
mm,
And then I go around the room and I go, okay, whose tree was gigantic? Who had a small tree? Whose tree was in the middle of a field? Where was a forest? What color were the
mm.
leaves? Was it winter? Was it night? And everyone has a different tree because the description's too sparse.
Yeah,
And then I go, it was a large tree in the middle of a field with, budding branches or something.
yeah.
And that's enough. But then you go too far with too much specificity. It's like, okay, I'm bored.
Exactly.
Too
Yeah, and
much.
you can feel that, and in certain books, you just feel you've got too much now. You don't need to know, and often I'll put too much. I'll put a lot on the page and just cut back more and more and more and more and more names. More. I'm
Mm.
sorry, got distracted by
No,
the answer question. More and more lines, and then yeah, just get it really.
tighten it down. That's what Stephen King says, right? You got to cut.
Just cut, cut, cut. Yeah.
Um, I'm really sorry. I'm actually super excited. We've got all these awesome questions, and I keep,
It's
and I
it's
keep
so
on
hard. I know they're all great.
I keep on highlighting one to come back to, and then there's another. I'm like, oh, so if I'm not getting to yours, please feel free to write it again. I won't be upset. It's just that the chat's going through really fast.
Yeah.
So I want to hit this one because Amber wrote this on the Facebook group, and then it's really funny because Justine wrote almost the identical question for you. But Justina said it this way. I was at one of your author talks a couple of years ago, and you mentioned that your wife actually came up with the twist in The Wife and the Widow. And Justine and Amber's question is, did your wife have any input into The Long Night?
Yeah, she,
Oh,
if I get a divorce, you'll know if I've got a divorce because you'll just see the quality of my books plummet.
uh,
Yeah, so she came up with most famously the twist in The Wife and the Widow, who, and it was irritatingly fast too. I remember, I mean, I knew what I wanted the twist to be, but I was laboring over it, and I couldn't figure it out, and I was ready to give up. And
mm,
then, we went for this little walk around this lake where we used to live, and I laid it all out. And I said, I've wasted weeks trying to figure this out. Should I abandon it? And she's got such a good story brain that she was quiet for, 8 seconds. And then she said, what about if X, Y, and Z happens? And it just unlocked everything. And she's done something similar. That's the big, that's the one I talk about, but she's done something similar with everyone.
oh, okay.
My book Wild Place, had a completely different ending, completely different. And she said, "What if this happened?" And it's just so much better. And with the long night, she had a big input, always with plot stuff. She never just gets to read the twist or never gets to just, enjoy
Mm,
it. So a lot of plot stuff, but with this one in particular, the main character is an artist, and I know, I did loads and loads of research on art, and I know what art pieces I will, you know, stop in front of in a gallery, and I blow through a gallery, I'm looking up like this, but then certain pieces will grip me, and I can kind of know that, but there was so much I didn't know, and in my first draft that I sent just shared to some, there was an embarrassing amount of, I'd get artists wrong, and like get the style wrong. So there's a lot of really, really specific stuff. But actually, someone mentioned this before too. It's been lost in this sea of wonderful comments.
hmm.
Someone mentioned that, Sam and I did it. We've done three Audible novellas together, and that was really amazing because she has got this great story brain, and she was helping me with my stuff, and then yeah, we did these three. With this kind of weird trilogy. It's all about, they're not connected, but they sort of are spiritually because they're about couples and things like that. And
Yeah.
we did the first one, Stillhouse, and it was hell. It was just the worst experience. We had a huge fight in the middle of it.
Oh no.
And then it spilled over into kind of, personal problems. And it was all my fault. It was all because I had gone in and just cut stuff and not showing my workings. It was all 100% my fault. But then and we said, okay, we're never ever going to do this again. Like just let's just this we'll finish it and we'll get it done. But then it came out and we listened to the audiobook. And actually the question about earlier was, will it come out in a book form? Yes, eventually. Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's been offers and stuff, but it's kind of holding off. But we listened to it, and I don't know about you, but I can't listen to my own audiobooks
No,
longer
I
than
struggle.
longer than a chapter, just because you start hearing, and the narrators are great and all of that, but you start hearing all the things oh, why did I write it like that? You start
Yeah,
to edit in your head.
100%. Yep. Yep.
But Stillhouse was the first book I sat down and I listened, and it was a novella, so it was only 4 hours or something. But we sat down and we had a bottle of wine, and it was this thing that I could enjoy in a new way because it wasn't wholly mine. It was this
Oh,
thing we'd
wow.
done together. And then they said, "Do you want to do another one?" And yeah, we sort of reluctantly said yes. And the last two we did were much easier because we just plotted a lot more together, and I showed my workings really.
Right.
But yeah, no,
Yep.
she's an asset, I think, because she's not only good at story, but also she won't pull her punches. You got to be
Need
careful as a
that.
writer sometimes. You don't want to give your manuscript to someone who will just say it's amazing. You do want that. You do
Yep.
you do want to hear that, but it's not useful. So yeah, she's really good
Yeah, and
at
then imagine sending a person who you know won't pull their punches and they say it's amazing. And
that.
then you're like, oh,
Exactly,
I've
exactly.
earned that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You do. You
Yep.
feel you feel like you've earned it. It's like, do
Yep.
you know people in your life who are assholes 99% of the time, and then every now and then they'll say something nice, and you feel, oh gosh, you feel so warm because it's that it's like that's sort of a social abuse situation. But I know those
Yep.
people who are just, it means so much more. I am not saying that some is an asshole 99% of the time, to be clear. I just know those people. And Ben does
No, you
not
didn't need to
murder
give us
anyone.
a, you didn't need to clarify. We understand exactly
Good.
what you were saying. Yeah, my editor's like that. Like it'll be, I don't know how your books come out with through the editing process, but it'll
Mm.
be like, repeated words and just like every
Oh,
page is
yeah.
notes and notes and notes. And then you'll get one little comment that it says, brilliant. You're like,
Yeah,
retire. I'm
exactly.
so happy
Exactly.
on the top of the mountain because that's hard won. Um, we'll get to a couple more questions. I
Mm.
really apologize. I might be pronouncing your name wrong. Is it Geet? Gitte? Apologies. Please spell it or phonetically help me in the chat. So, Christian, this is where we're getting into spoilers for people
Right.
who, yeah, want to preserve the spoilers. This is spoiler warning.
Yeah.
Awooga, mute us. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Geet says,
Bruce, and I haven't I haven't seen the question, but yes, Bruce Willis was a ghost the whole time.
"Not
Now that we're
what?
in spoilers. We're in spoilers, right?
What for? What this though?" Doing to me. Poor Bruce. I miss Brucey.
Oh, me too.
Miss Brucey.
Mm.
So the question is, isn't the book The Long Night sneakily, shouldn't it be called The Two Long
Yeah,
Nights?
the long nights. Yeah, yes.
It says I felt a bit cheated by the title.
Yeah, it's a little bit cheeky. Yeah, to me, I justified it by thinking, well, it's sort of about one of the one of the long nights. The ledge things happened at other places besides the ledge. No, that was us being completely cheeky.
That's so funny. No,
Yeah.
just no, full stop. That's so good. Did did you know on Runaway Train there
Yeah,
were
yeah, exactly.
not on that bullet train though, not that one. That's anyway, that's
That was a
really
good movie,
funny.
Bullet Train, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like Helen's saying, like you couldn't call it two nights, like
No,
it would
that would
kind of
be, yeah.
completely wreck it. Yeah.
Exactly. But it is another challenge, and I'm terrible. I'm just the worst at coming up with titles. The only title of any of my books I've come up with on my own was The Wife and the Widow. And that was really because, the chapters are the wife, the widow, the wife, the widow. So I was called The
Like the
Wife and the
widow.
Widow. Everything else, I'm so, so bad at chapters. Titles. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so what would you all name it? Let's say this book had a different, I love the title, but let's say it had an alternate title. What would you call it?
Please,
Um,
yes.
oh, and look, Anna said we're
Yeah,
on warning. No spoilers for the other books, okay?
yeah,
Especially not The Ledge, which is my favorite.
yeah, good call. And I will just spoiling Long Night only.
Yeah.
Long Night, the long nights only.
What if you called it just Long Night and not The Long
No,
Night,
no, that would have been better. That would have been better. Yeah, long night.
right? Because
Yeah,
then you've got they're two long nights, but like it's like
yeah.
I don't know. I think you could kind of stretch the credulity there. Oh,
It is.
yeah,
It is.
stretched.
These are the things you think about though, where I wanted to know your opinion on this as well because for me, there's this period when you've finished all the edits on a book, you can't do anything else. You can't tinker. It's done. It's set in it's not stone, but in ink, it's done. But the book isn't out yet, and it's often just a few weeks. And these in that period, that's the hardest thing because I start to think about this is when I started obsess. Same thing. Well, it's not a long night. It's not that long. It's not one long night. You start obsessing
Oh
about these
no.
things, but then it comes out, and you kind of think,
All right, so
who
well,
cares?
your anxiety right now is not from Geeta. Thank you, Geeta,
Oh,
for
Gita.
yeah, but the question was from Peter, so we're blaming Peter. Thank Peter, you're into his head now, man. What have you done to him? Oh, it's German. Oh yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Amber. Deanna's asked this, which I think is a really fun one. Did you have fun writing the book? And then she, in brackets, has written evil laughs and giggles every now and then, knowing what you'll put us through. Like, um, is it a bit disturbing sometimes to get into the characters of their heads? And again, we're in spoilers, but the brothers especially and what they went through, and then both of your main characters go through so much. Um,
Yeah,
and the main character, the artist, she's really gone through so much. And I think someone else had a question about art as therapy, but um,
yeah,
she's also like, and you can correct me on this, but she's very terse, understandably, and like
yeah,
rough with people. And she keeps everyone at arm's length, which you go at, but it must be like it's almost emotionally cold and all that sort of stuff. Like,
yeah.
do you really live with these people, or are they arm's length with you? Like, how do you go through that?
I think when you're in it, when you're on the page, you're really in it. It's funny. Someone said art therapy because originally I wanted Jodie to be an art therapist, but then I just sort of started to understand and get to know her and think, oh no, she's just too messed up. She wouldn't have had her life together enough to become a therapist and be that sort of aware. And really, what she's doing is more instinct. She just has this talent to paint her trauma and she gets paid really well for it, which is in a very, very small way is what we do sometimes, I think, as creatives. We sort of pour a little bit of trauma onto the page. But yeah, so to answer that question, both. Yeah, yes, it was super, super fun. I wanted this to be my scariest book and I wanted to flex my
Mm.
horror muscles. So there's something really, really fun about picturing the reader in certain scenes and feeling that there's a scene where a scene ends where that tension is so high and just pushing it a little bit further and pushing it a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further. And you're in the scene and you're thinking, I don't know how she's going to get out of this situation. Suddenly there's a spider's, she's hiding in the bushes. Oh, what if there was a spider's nest? And then what if the spiders were going up her at the same time? Just keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, and which is
Yeah, wow.
so, so, so fun. Also scary, it just drives my wife crazy. My daughter loves it. That I will be because I think about. I'm always just in my own head thinking about dark stuff. That just if you come around the corner and say, do you want a cup of tea? I just I gasp. Sometimes it happens all the time. And my wife hates it. She'll come around and she'll say, you live with other people. But my daughter now just sneaks up. She loves it.
He
She'll
loves
mark it.
spooking you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
So there is that. But no, with the trauma stuff, I mean, the boys in particular, I noticed that comment earlier about the boys and their fate in the book, and that in particular was really, really hard because in this sense, it's in this sort of black and white sense, it's unforgivable that Jodie abandons these two boys at the end,
Mm.
you know, and then and I knew that the audience wasn't going to, the reader wasn't going to know that, and how that would until a certain point, and then how would that color how they see Jodie and all of that sort of stuff. But it's not that black and white because also she did it to protect her daughter
Yeah.
and because they reminded her of their dad. And I think that that was a really, really challenging thing. And as you know, Ben, and I don't talk a whole bunch publicly about it, but I have have a lot of experience in the foster world and
Yeah.
the beautiful, wonderful stuff, but also the negative stuff. And it is that was a that was a real challenge because I knew you want when you're plotting it and planning it, you don't think about it too much, but as you get to know them, you want to be okay. And with this in particular,
Yeah.
I knew that there were these two boys that were these beautiful kids that were going to be abandoned and because of all this trauma they go through, they're going to do this horrific thing, later on in their life. So it was sort of so sad knowing, one of them dies sort of quite early on, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, he's dead. And then I had to go and write him as a kid, knowing what I know, but what the reader couldn't know yet. And it
Oh,
was tough.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really,
That legit did like really upset me when the reveal happened, and then I realized who the kid was, and like that she'd been a part of his death, and it was just like meaningless, and it just made me so sad.
yeah, which I love, which is so weird, but I love when
No,
people.
can we just clip that or something? I don't know how that works. I felt so sad. I love that. I'm so
I do.
glad.
My mum always says like, they're so sad. Just they're always so sad, and it gets angry at me, and I love it. I love when people tell me they got scared or they got sad or they're angry at me for some reason. I really,
Yeah. Well, it's connection. You've connected with us.
yeah, exactly.
Um, Now we need to talk about this, and I've scrolled back up because I thought this comment was really it was almost at the start, but
Mm,
Aaron Cheevers wrote, when I came across the major timeline twist, I actually missed it. It
mm,
was a chapter later that I literally went back and went, "What?" and had to go back and reread a chapter or two. And I've heard there's a few people who have been listening to it on audiobook, and
yeah,
then they're like, "Wait a second." So when you listen to an audiobook, you can zone out a little bit.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
you miss that mic drop, you're like, "What the heck?" So take us through that. Take us through the inception of the idea of the twist and then how you executed it. Because it's such a tricky balance and it sort of falls like it's about two-thirds through the book, roughly.
Yeah, and actually earlier on it was much I was really worried about the twist more so than any of the other books and based because of Anna's comment earlier, I won't spoil any other things, but there are similarities between that and stuff I've done before. So I was really, really worried about that. So early on I wanted to reveal it kind of early. I wanted it to be a midpoint reveal, but then I just kept pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back until it felt earned and right. And I
Yeah.
think with the twist, and a couple of people have said they got confused, which I don't like, but it's this really tricky balance because what I really try to do is reveal the twist in this one big moment, and I do this all the time. I really try to ground the reader. So usually a big twist will come right at the end of a chapter, and then the first chunk of the next chapter is always trying to ground the reader and say, "Hey, this is what's going on. This is
Yeah.
where we are."
Like a new reality sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm still getting the hang of that. In The Wife and the Widow, again, I won't spoil it, but certain people, I knew where I wanted that twist to be revealed. Multiple people said to me there was two other points that's when they got the twist, and I thought that's so interesting because I revealed it here, so that's always a tricky balance. I always it does frustrate some people when they don't get it, and a listening thing is a whole thing, but I really always want to kind of value that give that trust to the reader, and I don't want to over egg anything. So often it's a
Mm.
bit more subtle. and sometimes it takes a little bit and it annoys the hell out of people, those people. But yeah, it's a tricky balance because you kind of
You,
want sorry, go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, well, there were a few times where you did this thing where you made me go, something's a bit weird here,
Yeah.
but you didn't give me an answer. And there was that moment where I think Jodie's talking about her daughter having a male partner.
Yeah.
I thought, hang on, did she not reveal to her sexual orientation or what's going on there? But I sort of just moved on. But
Yeah.
you sneaky devil. And then finding the name on the bottom of the painting in the home,
Yeah.
as well, and not twigging that's my mum. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I like, how come she's not making a bigger deal of that?
Yeah, yeah. And these are all clues I put in later, where
Really?
yeah, because usually I err on the side of caution, and then when I've kind of feel the strength of the twist, then I know how much sort of little how many clues I can put in. I learned this great lesson on which book was it? The Wife and the Widow, where my US publisher, she knew nothing about it. I hadn't told her anything. I just sent it to her and she read it and she said the twist, she really liked the twist and she said, you can go back and load it up with clues and because it'll
Mm.
make it more satisfying. And then another thing that my Australian publisher did, they would share, I think, the first, say, 100 pages, of the book of my manuscript with a certain number of their staff, and then they would say, "What do you think's going to happen after that?" And they were just so far off. All really great ideas that they all had, but they were so far off, and you think, okay, I can put more in, and little things like
That's interesting.
yeah, like Jodie's daughter going on a date with a guy, that's just they're just two different people, but because there's that kind of we live in this world where it's like, oh, maybe she's didn't want
Yeah,
to say she was going out with a girl, maybe
that's what I thought.
which is all just giving. This is what I love giving. So when I say reading is such an active form of entertainment, because it just you give all these assumptions to the reader that are natural assumptions to make, that then it's not until you go back and think, oh,
Mm.
okay, yeah, that's why that was a clue. The annoying thing about that though is certain people do get it. And which I kind of course, I never want anyone to get the twist, but I do like it because it means that they were gettable. I think that a good twist is oh my God, that makes so much sense. I'm blown away, whatever. A bad twist for me is, hang on, what? How would I possibly have known that? What is going on? So I
Yeah.
think for me, the more clues you can put in, the better, even though you run the risk of people getting it maybe a bit too early.
Yeah, I still feel I see when we talked about it a bit earlier when you spoiled it for people, but The Sixth Sense, I think, it does a really brilliant job
Yeah.
of because at the end I feel like a good twist makes you go, "Oh, of course."
Yeah.
And it
And
doesn't make
you go back and watch A Sixth Sense, and it's in every scene he's in, it's
yeah.
there, and it's you see him get shot at the start,
Yeah.
but I love that. And then you see him again, and think, oh, he must have recovered. It's this amazing, yeah, it's a masterclass, The Sixth
It
Sense.
really is.
It's one of the greatest movies. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't that's one. I keep on looking for movies to watch with my kids.
Yeah,
they're at 13 and 11. And so
yeah,
we're sort of Marvelized, but we're not quite up to super scary.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking for entry level scares. It might be a good one.
Maybe you know what? I'd have to watch it again, but all these great 80s horrors like Poltergeist and Lost Boys, maybe Lost Boys. That
I
might
haven't
be.
watched I haven't watched Lost Boys. That's
Oh,
a good
Lost
one.
Boys is great. It might even be too. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember the Lost Boys being too bad. But I might be wrong. I might be forgetting. I might be forgetting.
Well, Carly's saying Final Destination, so I think we're off a cliff with
Yeah. Well, Final Destination. We were talking about the X-Files before. The Final Destination, the original came as some of the X-Files writers, they pitched that as an
Oh,
episode of the X-Files, and I guess it didn't go anywhere, and they made this incredible franchise out of.
it's pretty
Uh,
cool. It's a
yeah, I
pretty
think
cool
about
franchise.
I think about that movie a lot whenever I'm sort of in situations like flying or driving behind a truck
with
with
a log.
something kind of
Oh,
wobbly and
me
loose.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
Me too. It's stuck in the head.
yeah.
Um, Believe it or not, we're actually at the time of the night where we actually have to wrap things up, which I feel
Oh
like
my God, that went fast, didn't
I
it?
know, I feel like we just started,
I
which is
feel
a
like we
shame.
haven't started. I feel like we haven't even started yet.
We hit record earlier, man. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
good, good.
Yeah. Maybe we have to do some special editions where we do like a long form sit with a Christian White or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amber's saying you need to write the next book. Although he told me earlier, Amber, we're not getting another one for a while now because he's taking a break.
Well,
Sorry,
I'm,
that was rude. You're allowed to take a break. Sorry.
I am busy with film and TV stuff. However, I am taking a little break. I'm doing something about the next two books, so they won't come out until 2027 and 2029. So I'm sorry about that. However, they are a series. They're connected. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So that's been so fun. Uh, can't wait to tell you all about that. That's
oh,
been
that's
really
cool.
fun. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm
What's
looking forward
that?
to that.
Yeah, it's really fun. Whole new bit. Have me back, please, for a spoiler session because there's so much I want to talk about.
Yeah, Christian did tell me earlier, everybody, that this is, I think you said your favorite thing that you've done, which is pretty cool.
I love hearing that. It's amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
Christine, yeah. See, Christian, I'll miss you in Ballarat. No, I had to cancel. I had to cancel three events because I've got to go. I've got to go. This is a good problem to have, but I've got to pop over to LA or something. So I had to cancel. The Ballarat one was annoying. So it's going to be with JP Pomare, but they're going to do something
Ah,
better, and I'm sure it'll be much better without me. But I will. I'm bummed out about that one.
take me with you to LA. I'll come.
Yeah,
I
great,
can be
great. Yeah,
security or something, or
I
just
need a
interview
company.
you the whole time, just live. We'll live stream it. We'll-
It would be the most boring. It would be me in several meetings and then at my hotel clinking of cutlery. Actually, me just going out and eating just copious amounts of American food,
Yeah,
greasy.
actually, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
But we do have to lock down which of the comments is your favorite. I'm sorry to do that to you, and we'll wrap up for tonight while you have a bit of a look to
Yeah,
remember.
look, I've already got it. It's
Oh,
really they're all so good though. I'm trying not to overthink it. They're all amazing, and I know we're running out of time, but quickly to say, I said this before we started recording, but I said last time I was back here, and I've told people about this. Genuinely, one of the funnest things I've got to do, talking about spoilers, but also talking about this group of you who are all amazing and so engaged. So it's impossible for me to pick a good one,
oh,
but
thanks, man.
you'll have to help me. It was the sweaty feet. I can't get over the sweaty feet, making someone sweat. I, I want to actually use it. If you don't mind, who was it? It was do you remember
No, I have to. Can someone type in the chat who that was? We'll have to
who the
scroll.
sweaty feet? Yeah, and also say, can I use it in something? Because I just find that so specific. Sweaty feet. Thank you, Diana.
Deanna Jenkins. All right,
Yeah,
congratulations, Deanna.
that,
That's
great.
very funny. And
And look forward to some sweaty feet in a
the
book
next book
soon.
will have it, and you need to go to a thing with Christian and say I'm Deanna with the sweaty feet, and then he'll sign
Yeah,
next to it and say thank you or something. But
brilliant.
we'll get you. So um, my first found this out watching Stranger Things. Deanna, if you wouldn't mind jumping on my website, in fact, let me just put it into the room here.
How good is
Um,
Stranger Things, by the way, Deanna? Oh man,
I haven't watched season 5 yet.
it's really good. Season four is still my favorite season, but I love it.
I got I think I got disconnected from it in the gap.
Yeah, yeah, we had to go. I have the worst memory that when a new season of something is coming up, we have to go back and rewatch it from the beginning. So that's what we did. We went back to episode one, season one, and rewatched the whole thing
That's
because
pretty fun.
otherwise I'd lose
I
it.
still think season 1 is the purest. Like, it's my fun. It's where people aren't going too wild with, like, it's like
Yeah,
Matrix. First Matrix, and then it's too
First
much.
Matrix was so good, wasn't it?
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah. The
want the
first
whole
season.
Zion in the world, and I don't. Anyway, I'm getting on a rant. But Deanna, we will send you this. Please go to my website and send me an email, and we'll get your details there so we can wing you a copy of The Long Night. Thank you, Christian, very much as always. It's a real treat to talk to you, man. And
Likewise.
I wish somehow I could do it more regularly, just in
Same.
life. Like I need to move to Melbourne or something.
Move to Melbourne. Yeah,
My mum would love
everyone
that.
in the chat, move to Melbourne and
Every we should. That would be pretty good. Just create like a big commune
Yeah,
where the
exactly. A
big
big
club
farm.
commune. Yeah. Um, and I wanted to say the next one, next month, we're focusing on a book called The Empress Murders by Toby Jenkins, uh,
Ooh.
who is an actor. This is his first novel, I believe, and I've just started it, but it's written from the perspective of like Toby Schmidt. Thanks, Dorota. It's written from the perspective of a cruise ship,
Of the cruise ship.
of the ship.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm
And
in
there's
already. That's so
no, but
interesting.
no, let me pitch it because so the pitch is it's from the perspective of like an old-timey ship, and then there's like a serial killer on board, and
Oh,
then it's like who's done what, and it sort of narrates from a few different things. But
oh.
then I haven't read it yet, but I've read some reviews. It turns into like a weird body horror gore thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I
You know where my brain goes? I don't know if I should admit this, but when you say it's from the perspective of a cruise ship, I think, oh, all of these things are happening inside me. You know,
yeah, that's
like,
what it says.
yeah,
That's what happens in the
really?
book.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just sort of that's
Yeah.
wild.
It's a very odd book, but I'm excited to talk about it because I think it's going to be really like eclectic chat. Yeah, Gemma said really weird. I've
Yep.
also read that people really, really love it or go, "What the hell is this?" Which I kind of
Oh,
like.
I'm gonna check it out.
That's my book.
Carly Kane, you had me at serial killer.
Gemma said I felt a bit violated. Oh my gosh.
Oh, brilliant.
Jeepers. All
Oh, I'm
right.
gonna get that.
Yeah, it's going to be one, I think, for the books. Anyway, Christian, man, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone, and thanks for having me. And yeah, love you, Ben. Love you all. It's
Love you
great
too,
chat.
man. And yeah, guys, book this club is the best.
Mm.
Welcome back to the new year. We're going to have an awesome year together. Thank you so much, and thanks to Libby and all the people from Libby Dorota, who really helped organize and everything behind the scenes. So, yeah, much love, and we'll see you guys in the next month. Bye, Christian, and see everybody
Bye.
else.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.